thanks so much, whoever it is that sets that recording going, because we will not have notes taken at campus Zooms. The documentation of campus Zooms will be the recorded session. So there is historical information, but we will not have notes. There is an agenda, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Today is Wednesday, April 20. We're just about at the end of the semester, amazingly so. But I apologize. I copied the last agenda from our Zooms, thinking that all of the settings would be copied, but no, they are not copied. So it's not editable. So if you were going to go on there and add an announcement or something, you couldn't. So I apologize for that. I'm going to have to reconstruct these agendas and make all the settings work properly. So I apologize going forward. But nice to see everybody. We have some items on the agenda already, but if you need to ask a question or you would like to make a comment, please do so in the chat as we go. I'll be monitoring. So getting started. Tomorrow is the Board of Regents meeting. We are hosting it on our campus. The board has begun in-person meetings again. So we have advanced warning that all but 2 of the regents will be here in person, and all but 3 of the officers and the president's people, all but 4, will be in person as well. The campus has to accommodate in-person board people, Zooming people, as well as live streaming people. So thanks so much to Carl and the folks at KELT who have been able to actually manage all of the technology that will support this hybrid function. And it appears that the board actually wants to continue doing it this way. So all the campuses will need to be able to address those different technologies to support the board. There is an opportunity for the campus to do a presentation, and typically that happens at the early part of the meeting, like 9:15-ish, 9:20, usually 9:30, somewhere around there. But there are some controversial items on the agenda, and I don't know if there's going to be a lot of public testimony. When that happens, all the testimony has to be heard before the board meeting can go forward in the agenda. So it may be that our presentation won't be for some time. I don't know yet. We'll know a little bit later on today, I think, what the testimony looks like. So if you want to come in person, please do. We are planning protocol. Thank you to Ahakalawalani. We're going to chant to welcome the regents back, and that will happen around 8:45. We were given the okay, but it had to happen before. The meeting is in Ka'ikena, as it has always been in the past, but if you've never been to a board meeting, you don't know that. So it's in Ka'ikena. Feel free to come. There's room for like 50 people in the audience. Our presentation will include about 10 minutes from me updating the regents on what's been happening on the campus. We have to share the data with them. Each of the AGOs will have 5 minutes to present what's been happening in each of the constituent groups. And we will end the presentation with one of our PAO researchers talking to the board about what it has meant for the students to be doing research and to be integrated into the strategic plan. That's about it. In the agenda, there are links to both the material, so you can see what our presentation looks like, and you can also see the link to this live stream. If you look at the materials, I challenge you to scroll through it. There are 696 pages of materials that the board is supposed to have reviewed prior to the meeting tomorrow. And they just got it last week, Friday. So it's a lot for the board. But that's what they get paid the big bucks for. No, they're volunteers. So we are always mindful that the board has the interest of the university at heart. So questions, anybody have questions about the BOR presentation tomorrow? Okay. Next on the agenda is ACCJC formative summative evaluation process. I think Sunny is away, so she is our ALO for the short period between now and October. And she, I think, was present at the webinar. I don't know if anybody else was present at the webinar, but the Accrediting Commission has changed its process for self-study review. Those of you who've been through it before, remember that we have years and months to prepare an ICER, which is our self-study. And that gets sent to the visiting team 6 weeks before the visit. They have 6 weeks to review. They decide what areas they want to focus on when they come for their site visit. 6 weeks later, they come for the site visit. They ask us many, many questions. They want to see many, many more evidence documents, even though we've given them volumes of it. They always seem to want to have more. Then they talk to lots of different people, and then they write a report, and it comes back to us, and it tells us, you know, here's all the things that you did really well, and here's all the things we want to see more improvement on. And that's when you get subsequent visits, like we did a midterm report or a follow-up report. All that has changed. And so going forward, there will be a very different process. It's called formative summative. The campuses will still do a self-study. And for us, we need to follow the existing standards. Even though the commission has been undergoing a change in the standards, we're not going to be able to use the new standards because they won't have been implemented for us, because the commission needs to have lots of trainings and new materials, blah, blah. So we're going to be evaluated based on the existing standards, but through a very different process, which they call formative summative. What that means is our self-study will be delivered to the visiting team 9 months before the visit. Not 6 weeks, 9 months before the visit. The visiting team will have 3 months to review the document, identify where we excel, identify core areas of inquiry, that is, areas where they believe that the college is not meeting the standards, or that they have questions about. At that point, they will send it back to us, their comments, their feedback. That's why it's called formative. They will send us back the feedback 6 months before the site visit. So they get it 9 months ahead of time. They have 3 months to review. They send us feedback 6 months before the site visit. And in the intervening 6 months between the time that we get their feedback and they come for the visit, we can address the questions that they have raised, or we can improve what they feel may not necessarily be sufficient for meeting the standards. So the site visit then becomes much more targeted, and it will only cover those areas of inquiry. They won't be able to ask us again about anything else. So it's a better process, I think. in the webinar the other day, campuses that were piloting that process all said it was way better, that it was much more streamlined, that the visit was quicker and easier, and that people really appreciated the opportunity to revise their processes and what they were doing based on the feedback that they got. So it looks like it's better for us as procedural, but what it means is it really compresses the time that we have to prepare that self-study. Our next site visit is scheduled October 2025. 9 months from there is January 2025. Our ICER needs to be ready by January 2025. Takes a couple of years to get all that put together, so we got to get started officially January 2023. We are just submitting our midterm October 2022. So we have not so much time to create the process where we're going to do our self-study. So fortunately, we're already thinking about that, how to organize ourselves for that self-study. So we should have a better idea of that to share with everybody soon. The accreditation work group and our new ALO and I have been meeting, and that's priority for us, is creating the structure and the process for that next ICER development. So it's kind of exciting. What questions do you have? What more do you need to understand at this time?
Luis,
Yep.
when was the system going to come out with their strategic directions?
UH system, and I think Kara is on this call. System is expected to have everything done, the whole plan done by December 2022. They are about to have town hall meetings. The schedule has been put out. There are 4 town hall sessions scheduled where people can go and contribute. There's definitely going to be work over the summer, and completion in the fall. Strategic plan is the next item on the agenda, so you helped us to launch that conversation.
Sorry.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's perfect. Does that answer your question, though?
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, so we can go to strategic planning if there are no other questions about the self-study. Okay, Kara, help us know what's going on with our strategic planning.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm so excited that you had mentioned the town halls, which is what the UH system is doing, because it's very similar to what we've begun on our own campus with the data gathering sessions. So we launched our first session on April 8th, and it was this awesome community of both PAOA undergraduate researchers, as well as the faculty and staff of our campus. So if you, and I have a video about it so some of you may have seen that at CAC. So I'm not going to say much more about it, and I will share that link with you today. But since we are gathered here, what I think would be really helpful and inspiring would be if anyone who attended would like to maybe share an experience or an anecdote from that day and what they maybe learned from the students or from one another. I would appreciate that. So you could go to reactions and raise your hand just so I can see you pop out, or feel free to put something in the chat. So just to give folks a sense of what we did at the data gathering day, where and while you're thinking about that, I'll share the form that we actually used. And thank you so much. I think Jamie Sickle introduced our campus to this concept of wonder, worry, wish. So we did modify that approach for this specific event. So we had really, it was time for all of us to gather and do a very quick introduction. We had 1 hour. So you know how time flies when you're having fun or talking about issues that matter. It can go by quite quickly. And I gave an example here. So talking about connection to resources and then thinking, noticing of that would be, I don't feel like students know where to find everything they need to help be successful. So throughout this hour, different groups, they filled this in with what mattered to them and their own noticing, their own wondering. And then a wondering might be, are we tracking this data now? And maybe the worry is, how can our students meet the goals if they can't find what they need? And then of course, a big wish is like, does every student get what they need to thrive? And my dream, or the dream for 2028 here, would be that all students are connected to services and resources they need to thrive. And how to measure that, we can do something similar where we're just asking students if they are familiar with resources. And I'll share this link in the chat. This is one, this was from last year's survey findings, and we just wrapped up the survey from this time around. But what's so compelling for me was to see maybe this column here, students who are not familiar with the service but may need it. And when we have 200 students thinking, I would love to have some help so I can make sure I'm eating throughout the week, or I need help getting connected to a food pantry. That should be a 0 in my book. Like, to have over 200 to me, it was really, it's hard to see that. And we're noticing those trends continue. So at least by shining light on these issues and trying to find ways to incorporate these sorts of items into a strategic plan, I hope that's my dream, is that we'll get to address this as a group based on what matters to us most. So that's really kind of how we kicked off the data gathering on April 8th. And I'm stopped sharing just so if I can see. Okay, so no one raised their hand. That's okay. Anything in the chat? Oh, great. Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah, hey, actually I was in one of the groups and I really liked how diverse the groups were. What we primarily talked about was communication. So it kind of tied back in what you were showing, like, do students know the resources that we have? And we're just like exploring like, oh, we have data on what students prefer, how we reach out to them, but there's this challenge facing on those students who don't check their emails and aren't as engaged in, I guess, being proactive. So how do we reach them? So I think that was like one of the biggest takeaways that we're discussing. So
thanks, Jenny. I think we lost you for a little bit there, but for those who don't know, Jenny is the president of Student Congress. There's something in the chat for you, Carol.
Great. So Nadine says, it was such an insightful experience hearing from students and getting their feedback. My group could have chatted for another hour for sure. And something that I love what Nadine had said to me also is just that, oh, we should create more of these opportunities to get together and have these discussions beyond strategic planning, right? We don't need to take this out of our back pocket every 6 years and have these really big conversations about what we can do to strengthen who we are and realize our dreams. So I think that was really impactful. And we want to, that whole technique that I showed you with that Google Doc, that's what I will be doing throughout, maybe not this semester, it's like winding down, but we will for sure be bringing this through in fall. And I would love it, like let's have all the counselors get together and have these conversations, or maybe we want all like non-instructional faculty to get together, or go to staff council and have these conversations. So I think there's a benefit to doing it both ways. So really getting with peers and maybe where you have some of the same similar struggles, but then I love what Jenny said and reminded me of the beauty of diversity in our conversations too. So having us all connect and think, whoa, you're dealing with that and our jobs are completely different. Like, or, oh, wow, had no idea students felt that way, because they don't talk to me about that in a classroom, but it's a different kind of space to have those conversations, those crucial conversations. So I think it's going to be really exciting what emerges. And Jenny kind of hinted at communication. the student impact. And then I also always come back to the word connection. So connect, and I said that at CAC already, but connecting students to the resources they need, connecting what we're doing to allocation of resources, connecting to each other. So it's all there. Oh, wonderful. More is popping up in the chat too. Sheldon said, super helpful insights from students. And Yoshin says she's just gracious or grateful to have that opportunity to connect. Oh, and thank you for that, Yoshin. I really appreciate that. Any questions or comments around that data gathering event from April 8th? I'm looking through just to see, but it looks like I see some lovely, profile pictures. Okay, no hands up. So I'll move on. Talking about more data now. So I have a few data. Oh, yay, Angela.
I'm sorry. Were the students that answered only PAOA researchers?
Yeah, so what we wanted to do, so how this event started is it was really to have discussions around research. And my goal was to have people who have actually that had a deeper dive and use some of those skills to actually explore a research question that they had and trying to find those answers. So the PAOA researchers, they shared their focus group findings, their preliminary focus group findings. They're still working on it. Go to SURF because you'll get to see more, or check out those recordings. But that's a really good question because we want to extend this beyond the PAOA researchers. But part of the magic, I think, of that day of working so well is that these students had such a deeper context too of the issues and how it affected not only themselves, but their peers through all their focus group findings. So I think we should definitely try it with a broader group of students and just see what happens, and lessons learned. I'm always for like, what's the worst that can happen, you know, just to see what kind of insights we get from a broader range. But that's where we started. So thank you for that.
Okay, more thoughts about strategic planning, questions, anything? We're still working on mission. There have been multiple conversations about the mission statement and creating that mission statement, and that's in my court right now. What I expect to have happen is by the end of this month, possibly, or certainly by the end of the semester, I will have something to share with the AGOs to take back to their constituents. Obviously, it's not going to be finalized now because lots of things stop for summertime, but by early next fall, I would like us to make sure that our mission statement is set.
Great. And what I've shared is something that's helping Louise make decisions around that too, and her team of leaders. And that's just going a bit more a deeper dive beyond just what the campus had voted on, which you will find in tabs 3 and 4 in the linked dashboard. But then you'll get to see what emerged from 23 different potential mission statements and the themes that came out of that. So I think it's really helpful and insightful to have that represented in this way. And then just to pull off of more data, the final dashboard then is that enrollment dashboard for summer and fall. So that's in the making. I hear you loud and clear, the whole campus, when we start talking about wanting to see student success rates tied to different modalities and different classes. That is something I plan on working on over summer. It's a little trickier to share that though. So for example, the dashboard I just threw in to the chat without any context, just the link. All of this is available through class availability. So that's publicly available. It's pretty neutral, I think, politically. Then if I start sharing course success rates, which I want to do, I just have to find the right level of granularity for that. So right now I'm thinking maybe subject level for sure, maybe to course level, but nothing deeper than that if I'm going to share out student course success. But that's a conversation for a different day or now, but that's it from me. Thank you so much. And I'll put more links in the chat.
Kara, I have a question. The dashboard for enrollment trends, it's really helpful for departments when they're planning stuff. Is this, you have to update this, or is it automatically updated daily?
Yeah, that's why it was, I don't know if you saw when I was out of the last couple of days, I put April 20th is the dashboard, but so I have to go and do it by hand. The reason for that is because it's public. So I have to do something called flat files. I can't, if we had viewing license for everybody, that would be awesome. And then it would automatically do that, but we don't. I'm the middle lady. So thanks for asking, but I plan on updating it Monday through Friday by 9 a.m. And if anyone has a question, or, if you're like wondering what's going on, just always, you can nudge.
Right. And if you're thinking about enrollments right now, with, I forget how many days, what is it? 124 days until the start of instruction. Our enrollment for fall is down 5.5%. Let me see if I can share screen. For those people who like to know that kind of stuff, where am I? Okay. This is how it looks right now. So that's us, 5.5%. Lots of people, even Manoas, they vacillate. Like a couple of days ago, they were up 72%, then they were down 30%. So it all depends on what else is going on the campus. But this is the trend line following last year. And if you've been watching this kind of trend line, it tracks pretty close every year. It dips at the same time and rises at the same time. So it's just a little bit different right now. I don't know what else is going on. Okay. I want to stop sharing. Stop. Okay, sorry. I got stuck.
Leeward, yay.
Well, we're always 200 ahead of Leeward until we're not. And towards the end, they always catch up and exceed us.
And I would say one exciting aspect of talking, I'm in talks system-wide too now about strategic planning, along with Kahele Cruz and Rich Halverson from our campus. But we are starting to talk a little bit about enrollment. And like, I know with Leeward, they have quite a few of those high school students, but then they're leaving. So it doesn't help with all the metrics. And also thinking about how we look at degrees and thinking about those programs that offer certificates that might not show up in those ways. So I hope that the conversations are shifting on how we're looking at just the pure numbers. So that's a benefit, I think, to all of the sad decrease.
And if you guys can see the CALC video, you're watching the Board of Regents setup. That's where the board meeting is going to be. Thanks for showing us. That ends the agenda, but open to anyone who has questions or announcements, because I didn't let you do that through the agenda because I didn't make it editable. So who has a question, a comment, an announcement? Feel free to raise your hand or put it in the chat, whatever you feel most comfortable.
I have a question.
Yes.
So yesterday at Maria's AAC meeting, we were talking about fill rates for our classes. I think Lisa Kanai asked, are we still going to be sticking to the 60 or 66% fill rate?
Come in.
And then Joe Overton jumped in and said that, well, don't you check to see that Like how many of the students in your class are international students, because they bring in 3 times blah, blah, blah. And so I guess my question, since you were talking, Kara, is if I want, and if this is not your job, please don't say you'll do it. I'm just trying to figure out whose job it is. He said that, well, so I told him, well, can you send us a list of where your international students are in what class? Because we can't pull that list. So where would we possibly go and find that list of where are all the international students? So maybe we could leave the class open if they're, if we need 15 students and there's 5 international students, we'll leave it open because, well, they're paying 3 times as much.
I'm glad
So
you
where
asked.
would I get, go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm really happy you asked this because Guy sent such a nice email, a detailed email, and it's been in my inbox forever, guys. So I'm sorry, but I started pulling, I have started pulling the international student data, but I'm such a perfectionist that I'm like, it's not pretty enough to share, but I think I just have to get it out to you all. Like, so why don't we get that to, I can start by getting that to perhaps Maria and you, Nava'a. So you can start seeing the trends in how those F1 students, that would be the easiest for me. And if that works for you guys, for you all, not just guys, but ladies and people not named Guy too. So
I have something to say. Guy, you want to add something?
Well, yeah, thanks for always thinking and supporting international students. But I should point out that if we are interested in looking at fill rates and non-resident tuition, then you should look at people who pay non-resident tuition, not just the international students who pay non-resident tuition.
Right. Yeah.
That's all.
There are others.
Correct.
Lisa has something she wants to say.
Thanks, Nava'a, for bringing that up. Thanks, Guy, for the email. Aloha, Kara, my friend. Okay, so if you were gonna pull up all that data so that we can see if it's worth if it's worth saving a low enrolled course because there's a lot of international students in the course, for fall at least, we probably won't start canceling classes for low enrollment. Yeah, we're not going to do it right away. So, and that list is going to change up until the day before classes start. But if we can get an idea, a couple of weeks before the first day of instruction, that'd be so awesome.
So
Yeah, unless you want to do like a data pool consistently over whatever. I'll leave it up to you. You're the pro.
Okay, thank you for that, Lisa. So what I think I can do is at least get you folks sign up some historical data just to see what's been going on maybe a few years before the pandemic up until now. And then I like that idea that maybe once, I think how many of us are saying once summer's here, we're gonna have so much time to do all these extra projects, but that would be a time too where I can really dive in more deeply and help you get that live data more consistently, but we can get a baseline going.
That would also help us see which, we kind of have an idea anecdotally what kind of courses other than ESOL and the IEP courses that international students take, but it would give us a better idea of the kind of courses that international students take.
Right.
So that's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So Kara, something like that would go to your office? I mean, is there like a link where we gotta fill out a form and I'm only asking, and not to pick on you at all, but I just want to do a better job with referring people when I don't have the answer. And I've been totally failing in when I get a question and it's like, Naval, who would I send to? And well, let's try this. So I'm trying to make a list of examples of when people ask me, I know exactly how to answer. And when I refer, the next stop the student or somebody goes is the right stop and not they're going to be referred somewhere else as well.
And I think what would be tremendous, and maybe this is another summer project for all of us, we start thinking about what the needs are for the campus. So I'm talking, like, I'm so happy there's instructors on the call. So it's not just the folks, you know, who are in CAC, but that we can get kind of this wide range of the needs of what people need. And then for me and for Sean, if I can put those things in a dashboard, then people can go answer their own questions consistently. So that would be my dream, is to help folks answer their own research questions by having a one-stop shop to get all of this. So yeah, so maybe we'll talk about, so I'm happy you started that list, Nava'a. We can keep it growing and then see what we can make happen and turn into some pretty visualizations that are style and substance.
Thank you, Carol.
Guy, did you want to add something else? Because your hand's still up.
Yes, I did. Thank you. In the discussion of the 60% fill rate, I just want to add that when we talk about, you know, using data and being efficient, which is paramount, I mean, that's really important, obviously. We also need to consider the mission, right? So the mission is access, and we're here to serve our community. So it does make sense if you're looking at maybe 50 or 60 sections of English 100 to really hold the line and make sure that you're filling those classes before opening new ones. But if you've got a course of maybe 3 sections, maybe one is in the morning, one is in the evening, maybe there's one online, you really have to, you know, remember the mission first, I think, just my opinion, and then look at, you know, maybe that 60% or 67% fill rate doesn't apply to a course that has 1, 2, 3, you know, so statistically, how many sections do you have to offer of a course in different times of the day before you begin to apply that, that very important efficiency metric?
That's
More
why
food.
we don't let computers do this. That's why it involves all kinds of judgment, right? If it was just the number, we could very easily get somebody to program Banner to just kill all the classes that don't have 67% fill. It is very much a judgment call. So yeah, there are those things to consider. Is it ready? You know, is it needed for graduation? Are the students in the class ready to graduate? You can't not do it. There's also discussions across the system about, at least for now, if there's a class that's offered that is in person, to be kind, allow it to go, because we are trying to promote in-person attendance. Don't be quick to cut the class. So there's lots, then there are new considerations. And Guy, thank you for asking the question. And I understand Sean Jacobon is going to be drafting and sending out a message about CVIS regulations. They are going to continue the pandemic regulations with respect to which classes can be online for which students. So be looking out for that message from Sean. Okay, more questions, more comments.
Yeah, quick comment. And, you know, maybe there's probably a program out there that can look at the needs of our students, spit out something that says, here are the classes you need to offer and when. And that's how we assign faculty. And not to be mean towards faculty, but being a department chair before, we usually assign what faculty want and then students go. But then that might be a way to say, like, here's where students are going. Here's the classes we need. Okay, who's up first? When do you want to teach? Oh, yeah, that's not something that's not what the computer said.
Right. I think for small programs or smaller programs, that would be
It's
almost
easy.
possible.
Yeah.
Liberal arts would be, you
Oh,
know, my
hell.
it would be really difficult. It would be difficult to try to ascertain which courses do, you know, 2,000 students need this semester. More thoughts from anyone? Terry, VA, yes. So the VA is not going to be extending the pandemic constraints. Yeah. We okay? Looks like we might be done.
Can I add something?
Yes, Allison.
This is on a totally different subject, but Alisa Kashiwada is the lead for our 2022 campus food drive, and she's unable to be here today, so she asked me to make an announcement. On May 6th, there will be a drop-off event from 1 to 3 p.m. In the fire lane area in front of the Iliahi building. So if anyone has canned goods or things they'd like to drop off, people will be there to accept the donations. And also if you would like to make a monetary donation, there's a link in, I think one of the notifications that went out on the, what was that? The campus updates site. That's it.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Allison. And we're seeing other announcements in the chat as well. JSTOR. Oh my God, Allison. New digital library full of articles. There's a link there. Thanks, Allison. And Sierra's reminding people about virtual IT career fair. Most important for folks whose students are learning about technology. Food drive. Thanks, Lisa. Yep, 400 VA students. That's a lot. We didn't used to have so many. Terry Mitchell doing a good job. Okay.
And if you do the math, if they all obtain the highest amount of housing allowance and they're married and children and everything else, it's over $1 million a month. So that's a huge amount.
Right. Thanks.
And
Go, Kara.
sorry, I know I've talked quite enough today already, but with the student congress survey we just did, we found out that we have at least 40% of the students who took it, that's 500 students, are still struggling to find a meal every week, at least one. So important to think about that and support that how we can.
Okay. I'm impressed by Calvin Tan, who's in his shirt sleeves in the middle of the snowy mountains. Good job, Calvin.
I actually did short sleeves and shorts in a snow mountain.
Yeah, TMI, Calvin. All right, we good? More yet? Sheldon. Oh, can you please say that acronym? It's one of my favorites.
What?
Why would anybody choose an acronym that makes it sound like you're clearing your throat? I don't know.
Yeah, just drink milk and then say that. It's the Hawaii Association for College Admissions Counseling. And so that's their, so they have a college fair Sunday afternoon at St. Louis School. We're not participating in that one, but we'll be at we'll have a booth at the Woodward Mall Fair. So there's supposed to be like 50 colleges there, and then we're one of them. So in-person fairs are back.
Okay, and we'll be the best college there.
Oh, of course, yes, tops.
Jenny has something. Okay, we're on pins and needles waiting for her to put in the link. So for the faculty and the staff who want messages to go out to the students, please know that the news and events bulletin is not the most effective means because people have to subscribe to that, and students don't usually subscribe to news and events, but they do get the newsletter. So if there's anything you want students to know, please do use that vehicle. Slow internet, poor Jenny.
Hey, Sheldon, are you in charge of alumni too, bro?
Yeah. So we got our new tablecloth and which I'm very happy about. We're gonna try get alumni stickers to pass out. I'm working with Lisa and Lynn on that. But yeah, so I'm trying to get my butt in gear and try to plan our first alumni event. So if you know any student that took a class or graduate with a certificate, it could be non-credit, credit, just heads up, we're gonna try to do a very grassroots event that just brings the family back together. So more to
Maybe
come.
we can have them all sign up at graduation.
That's the goal. So I have
Ah.
a form ready to go for them to do electronically. So I'm gonna capture them. Through just various other events, I'm trying to, I'm running into former graduates who are in industry right now. And so if anyone out there in the departments or whatever have a list that you keep on your own, like hold on to that. I may tap into you folks because I'm really trying to, again, provide like design or plan a really homegrown, almost like backyardish type event that will cost folks almost nothing. Because I just want people to come back to campus. Yeah.
Right on.
Yep. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do we have time to go? Now, can we go? Maybe. Who else just thought of something? Dave Evans not here, right? Okay. We should be okay. All right, I'm calling it off. We're done officially. So our next meeting is in 2 weeks, which will bring us to May, which will be just before commencement. And commencement is taking shape. Lisa, see, I knew I was going to say. All right. Would you like to talk about commencement, Lisa? No. So we are having commencement. It is on the campus. It is in the cafeteria. It will start at noon and will end at 5 p.m. It will be in 30-minute increments by program areas. If you are teaching students, please encourage them to register because we need to figure out which groups will go where. We highly encourage the faculty to come and watch for 30 minutes while their program students are going through. High school graduates, okay. Let's see. Thank you, see, Roman, you should be talking about this, not me.
If anyone has any questions, you got it pretty good, Chancellor. But May 1st is May 1st is the commencement registration deadline. So after that, we'll send out the check-in times to the students and as well as the invitation to staff and faculty to come during these programs. We just wait until May 1st because then we arrange groupings, not only just by program, but also by how many people are in those programs. So we do a max of 30 in each time slot. So that's why it's not fully out yet. But if people really want to know, health sciences are all towards the afternoon. Everyone else is in the earlier first 2 hours.
Thank you. Students will be allowed 4 guests and they'll be checked in, given wristbands, color coded. It's going to be like total control.
Lay or no lay?
Lay can be given afterwards. There'll be a lay zone. Behind curtains. No, I'm kidding. All right. Maybe we should just say goodbye before somebody else thinks about something. And I still haven't had lunch. Wait, what? What, Jenny? Can guests attend? Yes. Each graduate will be allowed 4 guests. Sign up to receive the newsletter. Okay, Jenny. Thank you. That's the link for signing up. Whew. Go eat. Yeah, hungry already. I got a 2 o'clock meeting. All right, everybody, unmute yourselves and say goodbye. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks, Jamie, for recording. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry, the video doesn't work. I'm in the library, but I'll see
I'm
you
so
next
sorry, Eloise.
time.
Thank you. Bye.